As you talk about those homes that are being threatened, there are evacuation orders. Actually, the Sheriff's Department has issued immediate evacuation orders for the area behind the Albertsons, saying the entire community behind the Albertsons. We're talking about Highland Mobile Home Park and the surrounding community. But this fire had sparked near I-8 and West Willows Road. And it is now burning about 10 to 15 acres at this point. And again, it is going pretty quickly, rapid rate of speed. We do know that apparently the Lakeside Fire Department is also working alongside with the U.S. Forest Service firefighters and of course CAL FIRE as well. Andrew.
Right, these shots coming from Sky Fox shortly ago, and we're going to get some more shots from Sky Fox momentarily, but we also have some live shots from the ground as well to kind of get a perspective of what it's like there. This is, I believe, is just off of the 8 as our photographer is getting a shot, and there's frankly not much to see because there is a lot of smoke in that area, which was indicated from the shot from the air. As we pan over, you will see the roadway as well to get an idea of just how closely this is burning to that. You're also noticing, especially from that sky shot, how much the wind is blowing, and you can see it also being up close to it. The heat is obviously the story of the day. We all know we're starting this heat wave, but the wind is also a big part of the story in Alpine. And for more on that, let's bring in our meteorologist, Jason Hammond, on the conditions.
Well, the problem with the location of this fire is that right where it started in Alpine, some of the wind is the strongest. In fact, this is a weather station just near where the fire started. That's where Willow Road is. 103 degrees there, but look at the wind speed. 21 miles an hour with the wind coming out of the east. But this weather station, which is just a little bit further west, you'll notice that the wind is calm. So what's happening here is the wind is so strong where this fire broke out that it just continues to spread further west. But the further west it goes, the wind is calm. And actually, if you go just a little bit further west beyond Alpine, the wind is coming in the completely opposite direction. So this is giving firefighters some really difficult conditions as far as the weather is concerned to deal with stopping the spread of this fire. Look at the humidity right there. 11% relative humidity, very, very dry. And you're really caught in between two air masses here as far as this fire is concerned. The wind very strong as you get closer to the mountain areas, and then it calm and even coming right off of the ocean. So the humidity is much higher the further west you go. All right, Kelly, take it away.
That's right, Jason. You were just talking about this, and Sharon was talking about this earlier, how there are evacuations in place. That Alpine Station was talking about this, saying the entire community behind the Albertsons needs immediate evacuations. Let's take a look at the map and see exactly where that is. Here is the I-8 here, and this is the Albertsons they're talking about. So we see this community here along Highlands View Road, River Shadow Court, River Dance Way. That is the area they're talking about. And also Cleveland National Forest saying if you are in the general area of where this fire is burning, now is the time to evacuate. Sharon, Andrew, back to you.
All right, Kelly, thank you very much. Again, taking a look at Sky Fox pictures from just a few minutes ago, getting an idea of what this fire has done so far. That I believe that is a mobile home that is on fire. They had reports of multiple mobile homes that had burned in this fire, and anything in that area, obviously, right in the thick of the conditions that we're dealing with there. But as Jason said, the conditions are such that not only are we in this heat wave, we are also dealing with really unpredictable wind. This is really close, by the way, to Viejas Casino as well. So maybe half a mile to a mile away from the casino, Sharon.
That's right. And, you know, as Jason said, we're dealing with very high winds, he was saying up to 21 miles an hour. Not to only also on that note, too, that the humidity is very low, 11%. These are the conditions that firefighters fear when they go out to fires like this, especially brush fires, because as we know, we've been in very dry conditions. We've dealt with the drought in the past years, and so our brush is very dry out there, not to mention thick. And when you've got those conditions combined with the low humidity and this high wind, this fire does have that ability to just run. And that's certainly what we've seen this morning with this Alpine fire, and then certainly also earlier with Del Zura. And you can see as you look at your screen, that smoke is black. It's burning black, and that is not good news. Whenever we see that, we know that that is something that the fire has consumed, Andrew.
Yeah, looking right in the middle of your screen, kind of middle left, upper left, you can see, you know, plumes of black coming out because, right, it is burning structures, and there is a lot of things that it is burning in there of note. And it's interesting to see which way the wind is blowing to. It's blowing away from the freeway, which to this point has kept the freeway open, but wouldn't be surprised if they made a decision to close it down for at least the time being, because I don't know if you could see there momentarily a moment ago that some of that smoke was also blowing for a little bit toward the road as well. So kind of getting these pictures.
And if they can go to the live pictures from the photographer on the ground, you can see at just a rate of speed that the smoke is traveling with this fire, an indication of just how strong the wind is right in this area where the fire keeps burning. I assume this picture is right off of the 8?
I believe so, yeah.
Right there. And you can see, you know, look up above and you can see plenty of blue skies out there. And that's because the wind is so strong that it's pushing all of the smoke in such a quick direction closer to the coast. That being said, the further west it travels, you know, the wind changes directions and calms down pretty quickly the further west you go in Alpine. This is pretty east as far as the city of Alpine is concerned.
I just got this note from our man on the ground. This is Paul Makarushka, our photographer that is out there. He said that he just heard that Willow's exit is closed out there. And he also said that he's heard several explosions, and that is likely the propane tanks from the mobile park there.
All right, Cleveland National Forest, you see the sign right there, and they have been sending out alerts via Twitter as well. The Cleveland National Forest giving some idea that this fire is at 10 to 15 acres and that these evacuations are now being called for. So this is one fire we're watching right now in Alpine that is very much active. There was another fire just started about 2.5 hours ago, this one in Dulzura, which they have actually stopped the rate of spread. They said they kept it at 10 acres, that being good that it's not spreading even further. However, the bad news is, as you can see on your screen, at least one home was burned in this fire. I'm calling it a brush fire that was able to consume, again, at least one structure, but the rate of spread was a concern with this fire, just like the one in Alpine, because of the conditions.
That's right. We are talking about CAL FIRE said earlier that the rate of spread is within half an hour. The fire had spread to about 10 acres, so very quick. Not only that, again, they're dealing with the same conditions out there. Wind was a very big factor, as well as the dry brush. This home, obviously, getting burned by this fire, and we know that this fire was moving in between the backcountry homes and the brush there. So a very big concern for firefighters out there as well.
Frankly, lucky, not lucky, but impressive that they were able to stop it, because there is a lot of land around there that could certainly have made this fire a much bigger problem going forward. But the fact they were able to stop its rate of spread at 10 acres is certainly good news, but they do everything they can to protect people and then homes, and obviously that moved so fast that they lost that one home. As we look live once again at the fire in Alpine, as you go a little north of where we were there a moment ago in Dulzura, this fire continuing to spread and to blow, as Jason said, in one direction, and then the wind kind of blowing in the opposite direction, so it's making the conditions pretty tough to deal with. But it is right off the 8, and there, as you can see, are full structured homes, and there's also a number of mobile homes, and we know at least a few mobile homes have burned in this fire, but these structures are far from safe given what they are surrounded by.
That's right, and we're looking at the West fire right now. If you're just joining us, this happened at about 11:20 was when it was first reported off the Interstate 8 and West Willows Road. Now, one thing about this particular fire is that there has been evacuation orders that were issued, and so we're hearing this afternoon that the area behind the Albertsons, they're telling people that entire community needs to evacuate immediately. We're talking about Highland Mobile Home Park, which is probably what we're looking at now, and the surrounding community. We are hearing from Paul Makarushka on the ground that he's hearing several explosions. That's likely the propane tanks that are probably in that mobile home park, and also Willow's exit is closed. And again, firefighters are dealing with a lot of wind and dry conditions.
Okay, so this fire is in Alpine. The one we just saw a moment ago is in Dulzura. There's actually a third fire we mentioned off the top of this breaking news coverage, special coverage, that there's a third fire. It's actually at Camp Pendleton. And we were told that it's not threatening any structure to this point, but we're also being told there is one housing structure on Camp Pendleton that is being evacuated on the base, so taking a precaution there as well. All of these fires breaking out within the last 2.5 hours. First the one in Dulzura, then the one in Alpine, and now the one on Pendleton as well. This is live pictures from Skyfox. What you saw a moment ago was Skyfox's pictures from the last 15 or 20 minutes. Skyfox had to refuel, so it's now back up in the air, giving us these pictures from a distance as it goes toward the West Fire in Alpine, getting an idea of what folks in that area, if you're not seeing it yourself, you're seeing it on your TV screen, just what they're dealing with, Jason.
Yeah, the big problem with this fire, out of the 3 fires you mentioned, the first one that broke out in Dulzura, which firefighters got a quick handle on it, this Alpine fire is the one that's the most concerning, and that's because the wind where this started is probably one of the strongest wind readings we've seen all across San Diego County all day long. And that's because you're getting closer to the mountain areas, but you're getting the stronger wind out of the east, and that's just driven down the humidity. The temperature all across our inland spots are record-breaking temperatures. Alpine broke the record for high temperature at about 11 o'clock this morning. So you're dealing with temperatures well over 100 degrees. The humidity, because the wind's coming right out of the east, is only about 10–11% where this fire broke out. And then you're getting some very strong winds, which are just blowing this fire further to the west. That being said, the good news that firefighters have is they're probably able to at least put out some kind of fire line to stop this fire from rapidly spreading further to the west, because the wind calms down pretty quickly the further west you go. But it's broken out so quickly, it's spread so quickly just over the last hour or so, that it's probably a very difficult fighting effort.
Again, want an update when it comes to the Camp Pendleton fires. We look at the fire in Alpine, the West Fire. The one on Camp Pendleton has caused some evacuations for the Deleuze family housing area. That's off Fallbrook Road. So that is on Camp Pendleton North. Again, we were told initially no structures appeared to be threatened, but they are evacuating people from that so that they are able to get out and take that precaution at this point. But we are unaware that it is threatening those homes specifically, just that they want to get these people out at this point. And again, knowing these conditions, we don't know which direction it'll go.
And take a look at these pictures on that West Fire, that giant plume of smoke that is just huge. And this is what people have been seeing for about the past hour as this fire broke out at about 11:20 this afternoon. Now we know this is right off the 8 and West Willows Road. And as we have been watching this fire, much of it moving through that mobile home park there that is under evacuation this afternoon. And again, this fire is growing at a high rate of speed. We had last heard about 10 to 15 acres. I'm sure it's much more than that now. We don't have official numbers just yet, but it does continue to move.
Okay, so as for anybody who is being evacuated from the West Fire, the one we're looking at now in Alpine, they are being sent to Viejas Casino, parking lot 11. Again, Viejas Casino is only half mile to a mile from where this fire is burning, maybe a little more than that. Not sure specifically where on West Willows Road it is, but pretty close to Viejas Casino. So anybody who has been evacuated is being told to go to Viejas Casino, parking lot 11 right now when it comes to the Alpine fire, the West Fire. For anybody just joining us again, Dulzura had a fire today. That burned at least one home. It was 10 acres. This one is just off the 8 and West Willows Road in Alpine, called the West Fire, in addition to the one burning on Camp Pendleton.
We are hearing from Paul once again, who's telling us that there's heavy traffic on westbound 8. And when the wind shifts, the smoke goes right across the lanes. And so a lot of drivers out there obviously dealing with this. Earlier we saw it seemed that the smoke was blowing away from the freeway, but now it seems like perhaps maybe that wind is now moving more onto, well, it still looks like it's away from the freeway, but we're hearing from Paul that apparently drivers are having a hard time out there. And he also tells us as he is in this mobile home park, he's hearing some loud popping noises, probably propane tanks, but he also says that it could possibly be ammunition too, for we don't know what is, in those mobile homes.
Also want to be clear, the pictures you're seeing right now are from Skyfox shortly ago. Skyfox just went to refuel and it's back on its way. So the huge plume of smoke you saw a moment ago was Skyfox getting back to that scene. scene. That's the live pictures right there, and the other one from shortly ago. So as Sky Fox gets closer, we'll get a better idea of what's going on exactly right now. In the meantime, let's get it over to Kelly Johnson.
Thank you, Andrew. So we do know that evacuations are in place when it comes to the West Fire. Sharon had mentioned this a few times, but there is now a road closure. Caltrans San Diego tweeting out eastbound I-8 off-ramp to West Willow Road is closed due to the West Fire. And we also have had viewer pictures come in from the Camp Pendleton fire. We can see this right here. This was taken from a neighborhood in Oceanside. You can see the smoke right there coming out, very visible from this neighborhood. And we also have a second one, very vivid fire as well. We're continuing to track this. Back to you.
Okay, Kelly, thank you very much. Again, getting pictures from 3 different fires that we're dealing with right now. Also learning a new update, Kelly, that Albertsons in Alpine, which we just talked about being very close to where this fire is burning, it is closing because of the fire. So Albertsons on Honey Hill Ranch Road, that one is closing. And anybody who's being evacuated from the West Fire being told to go to Viejas Casino parking lot 11. Both of those locales very close to where this fire is burning, just off of the 8. These live pictures now, Sky Fox has gotten back to the scene as we get an idea of what it looks like right now. Traffic, gosh, I think it's the westbound on the right side of your screen. I can't tell, as it zooms in, maybe we'll get a better idea. It looks like traffic's still moving, but it also looks like, as you alluded to a moment ago, Sharon, that smoke unpredictably blowing is actually blowing right over the freeway in parts as well.
That's right. This is over on the west, on the 8, over by West Willows Road. Now we know that this fire is burning through right by the mobile home park there. We do have Paul Makarushka there on the ground. But right now what we're looking at is Sky Fox pictures. We're going to stay on these pictures to show you just the magnitude of this fire. It is huge. You can see that smoke rising, and when Sky Fox pulls away, you can see just how large that plume of smoke is. Now, these are really bad conditions that firefighters are dealing with today. You're not only talking about the heat out there that Jason Hanman says the temperatures are also in triple digits. Not only that, we're dealing with dry conditions, the brush out there, and then also the wind. The wind blows very hard out there. We are told by Jason earlier that it's about 21 miles per hour. Now we know that in that area in general, wind is, it's very common out there. That is why they have the wind farms out there. So, you know, wind is a big factor out there.
All right, talking about businesses affected, we just talked about the Albertsons is closed. We've also put in some calls. There's a Viejas Outlet Center that's right nearby and not getting any pickups over there. So it's very possible that at the very least that they're preparing to evacuate if they haven't already. But just be aware that anybody who is in this particular area off West Willows Road is going to be affected right now because this fire is moving, and it's been, to our knowledge, we've been told anyway that it's moving at a pretty quick rate of speed. And as Sky Fox is above the scene, traffic still moving on the westbound side of the 8. You can see the smoke pushing really hard to the east. That is down to the bottom of your screen, but it has been moving a lot. Okay, so what they're focusing in now is a little bit of a distance away from where the initial fire appeared to be started. Kind of hard to tell because we're a little, quite a distance, but there's another kind of wide view, get an idea of just how widespread this fire is. So it appears that it may have started, gosh, I can't, just kind of hard to tell if it started on one side than the other, but nevertheless, it's obviously moving pretty quickly, and that's the area of concern right now. So that's the fire in Alpine. The fire in Delzura that burned starting at about 10 o'clock this morning. That burned this home in the middle of your screen. It threatened a whole bunch of others. Our Jason Sloss is live there right now. Jason, what can you tell us?
Hi there, we're having a tough time hearing you right now, but to give you an update, what's happened here in Delzura is we're being told this fire is about 8 to 10 acres. No word yet on containment, but it looks like firefighters are getting an upper hand. Right over here, you see trucks and firefighters around this structure that burned to the ground. We're being told no homes burned, but that a garage and perhaps a granny flat. This is the result of the flames that came through here. Firefighters keeping a check on it, on those hot spots. They've got trucks around a home that's just yards away to the right to make, obviously they were there ready to protect that home. And then swing it over, Christian, to the left, as you see the burn area over here. Again, 8 to 10 acres. Now, just beyond these trees, there's another home just yards away, and then a little more to the left, up the hill a bit, there's another home where there were a bunch of kids there, teenagers. They said that they saw this fire blowing through, saw the flames getting really close to the home just beyond these trees. They hauled out of there, went to get a hold of the neighbors, make sure they were fine, getting out, and they started dousing that home with water as fire crews arrived here. Fire crews get here, do a quick job of this, but it was shaky at moments because just been told the conditions were really whipping up. The wind started to get going. There was a shift, and flames really got close to crews. And at one point, we're told flames getting within 25 feet of an engine. An air tanker came through, delivered a big shot to knock the flames down in that area. So in a sense, not only saved property, but crews that were in a bit of danger there. And we're also being told that defensible space played a huge role in this, in letting firefighters get the job done. I've got a CAL FIRE captain with me now, who's now able to join me. Captain Stefan.
Yes.
What was your first name again?
Richard.
Richard Stefan, thank you for being here. Again, go back down about what happened here.
Well, I don't remember the time that we got the call, but
You guys were the first crew that got here.
Yes, sir, we were. So we were about 15 minutes or less. We were by ourselves, waiting for others to show up. We arrived on scene, and then the tanker 7-1 came through. We came down Community Building Road here. The fire was well established, already spotted, well in front of itself. Had a potential to go to Marone Valley Road. So we rolled in. We started picking structures, and like you said, with the defensible space, I want to thank the people in the community for their participation and their efforts, because that helped us save their homes. Okay, so, but getting with that, yes, we were in the engine when the tanker arrived on scene. Yes, we were somewhat in a little bit of a predicament, and they came in and made a drop. Excellent drop. I thank the tanker for doing that, and we got to work.
It came right down on you guys.
Correct. Correct. Not too bad. We did get a shot. Yeah.
Just talk about what the conditions that we're going through here, and what's the setup here, because it's tough to look at, but there's a few homes out here really close to where this burned.
Right. Well, the winds were about 5 to 8 miles an hour when we got on scene, maybe gusts to 10. Fire was not over here yet along this way. Basically, it's just grass, and then it got into the medium fuels. Not very many, but mostly grass and maybe some shrubs. But other than that, we held it, I believe, at 8 acres. We're confirming that right now with our crews. We're getting GPS on all the damaged and undamaged structures or outbuildings or what have you, and we're also going to get you exact acreage.
The temperatures out here, last time I checked, around 110 degrees.
Right.
Pretty nasty.
We did the weather a little bit ago, 108 degrees, relative humidity 16%. So I'm truly grateful for the defensible space that gave us the opportunity to do our job.
Captain Stefan, thank you for joining us.
Thank you very
Appreciate it.
much.
Great job out here.
Thank you.
That's it from Dozura. Of course, we will have updates. For now, we'll send it back to you.
Great work by them. Jason, thank you very much. Now back to the fire in Alpine, the West Fire. This one continuing to burn, and on the phone right now we have Olivia Walker. She's with the Cleveland National Forest, where this fire is right on the edge of. Olivia, thanks for being with us. What can you tell us about the status of this fire, how much has burned, and any evacuations you need to let us know about?
Sure. Well, information is still kind of coming in. I believe this fire is about an hour old. So we're still estimating it between 10 and 15, though it's likely that it's larger now. Obviously, with the heat and the fuel conditions, it was moving quite quickly. There were evacuations, immediate evacuations put in place by the San Diego County Sheriff around the Highland Mobile Home Park and the surrounding community. There has not been any word yet if those evacuations have broadened. There was one firefighter injury as we were working to engage in structure protection and develop a line. And obviously our primary concern here is people safety.
So the firefighter who was hurt, do we know anything about that injury as far as severity?
We have very little information. It seemed like it might have been burn related as he was engaging in structure protection. There was a lot of areas. We have a district office out there in Descanso. That one was evacuated. And they've also closed, Alpine Road is closed between South Grade Road and West Willows Road off of the I-8. And if the fire keeps increasing in size, we can expect those closures to broaden as well.
Olivia, can you tell us, we've got a photographer there on the ground who says that he continues to hear kind of popping and explosion noises from that mobile home park. Can you tell us a little bit more about what you know about that? Are those propane tanks that we're hearing?
Well, this isn't an uncommon sound to hear with large fires. Normally what it is it's the vegetation that is very dry. And depending on which kind of vegetation that is, you know, it can burn hot and it can create those crackling sounds. I don't know if that is coming from the fire itself, the vegetation, or the mobile homes that may have already burned. But during the off season, our firefighters did a very good job of creating a defensible space, getting rid of a lot of the dry fuels. So we're hoping that that's going to help us to fight this fire now.
Olivia, you may not have, I would imagine, any jurisdiction over this sort of thing, but the 8 freeway appears to still be open. Do you have any insight as to what's going on there as far as the roadway and any efforts to protect drivers who are going by that area?
Right. Well, we do work closely with the San Diego County Sheriffs, and if an area is threatened or there seems like there might be public safety issues, we do request a closure, or request that they, maybe implement some kind of a closure. In this case, they may have not found it to be of an immediate need, or they might still be working on it. I don't know where they are at with that. That would obviously be in conjunction with the California Highway Patrol. So it takes a lot of people to make a closure happen, and it may not be immediate, but we may see one in the near future.
Right. Can you talk to us, Olivia, if you have any insight into a plan of action here as far as what's being done to try to get this fire out? I mean, live pictures right now on our screen from Sky Fox showing us it seems like new fires popping up, and obviously a lot of fuel in there when it comes to trees and then homes as well. I don't know if I've seen an airdrop recently. What are they doing, as far as you know, to try to get this fire out?
So initially when the fire starts, especially like this one with the potential to grow, we order as many resources from as many areas locally as we can. And this includes like all of our cooperators assisting. So CAL FIRE is there, San Diego County, the Sheriff's Department. We have people that come in from local firefighting agencies. So we get as many people as we can on the ground as quickly as possible. I know that we were attempting to bring in a VLAT. I don't know if that's happened yet, but we are grabbing as many air and ground resources as possible. We ordered a lot very early on, and there's obviously the drive time to get there, but we have as many people assigned to the fire as we could get, in hopes that we can hopefully create a perimeter, a containment line, and it won't be able to grow as quickly.
Do you know, Olivia, also if resources have been limited at all, considering the other fire that we were dealing with shortly ago in Dulzura? I know there's also one on Camp Pendleton, but any factor as far as the effort to fight this one, because resources are spread out a little bit?
Right. I think that we're pulling from a lot of different areas. We have a lot of great cooperators locally here in San Diego that I know they really jump on these things too very quickly when they happen. So I think that we probably have as many as either we see fit or we could order. I know that for the Cleveland National Forest, we've ordered what we could from other forests, even though they may be engaged in a fire themselves. They send us what they can possibly release. And a lot of it will be in priority. So if there is a fire that has a bigger threat to life and property, that fire would often become priority, and resources can be reassigned. So I don't have exact numbers on how many people we have, but I know that the ground resources are actively engaging in structure protection. Evacuations are coming out as we feel that they need to occur, and they're taking into consideration a lot of the public safety aspects. So we can see if this fire continues to grow, that those closures, those implementations will also grow.
Olivia, you had said that Highland Mobile Home Park and the surrounding areas, they've been issued evacuations. Are there any other areas that are on notice at this point? Can you kind of clarify that?
I've been in close contact today with the San